Okay, so now we're going to do an example to see why are we learning about scale drawings. So we have a real world question, and we're going to apply what we know about scale drawings. So William is laying new flooring in a storage shed, and the blueprint of the floor is shown using a scale of 1 inches, which equals 3 feet. If the building material costs $1.09 per square foot, how much will it cost for the new flooring? And they want us to round to the nearest cent if necessary. So remember, if we're talking about cents, it's the nearest hundredths place. Um, so what we can do, there's a few different methods that we can go about to solve this. One of them is we can go back to the beginning of this unit where we learned about scale drawings and the ratios, and we can convert each of the sides because they give us the scale. Okay, so remember the ratio of a scale drawing is scale to drawing. I'm sorry, scale to the actual. We're not talking about K because we don't want the constant of proportionality or the scale factor. We're just going to use our scale ratio. Okay. So what we can do is, let me find my notes that I have. All right. So we have our scale over the actual. And what we're going to do is set up proportional relationships. Remember, I showed you guys to set up our two ratios that we're going to talk about. And then off to the side, I will put S and A just so that we remember which one goes in which order. Because we're talking about a ratio, remember, it has to go in that particular order. So it has to be scale and then the actual dimensions. So, what do we know about the scale and the actual? We know that the scale is 1 inch. So, we're talking about the units are inches and feet. So that's the first thing that I'm going to put there. And what do we know about both the inches and the feet? We know that 1 inch is equal to 3 feet. And what are we looking for? So let's start off with the width right here. We have 2 1/4. I know that 2 1/4 is the same thing as 2.25. So I'm going to put 2.25 in my inches. And I'm going to put X under feet because I don't know what that is. And then you can use whatever method you choose to solve it. I like the swing method. So I'm going to go from 1 to 2.25. I'm getting larger, which means I use multiplication. So 1 times 2.25 gives me 2.25. Okay, remember what we do at the top, we do at the bottom if we're going in the same direction. So now we have 3, we're going in the same direction, times 2.25. And so that would be 6.75, I believe. So X is equal to 6.75 feet. Okay, so that's the one side. That is this side over here, the width. Okay, now we need to find out what the actual dimension is, or I'm sorry, the actual size of the length. So we just set the problem up again. This one was for the 2 1/4 or the length. And now we're going to do the same thing again. So set up the scale to actual and make sure that we have our ratios set up properly. We're still talking about inches to feet. And our inches, we know is going to be 1 inch. It represents 3 feet. That's what this means. We're not saying that 1 inch is equal to 3 feet. In actuality, we're just talking about our scale drawing. So for every inch, it's representing 3 feet. So I know this from our information that they gave us, and our scale is 3 3 3/4. That's the same thing as 3.75. And then we're going to put an X here. So for this one, I'm going to use the fish method. So multiply, divide, provide the answer. I'm not color coding it this time because I've done a few of them. So hopefully you understand what we're doing with the fish method. So remember, we start on the side that has the variable. We look at the piece of information that we know, and we're working our way back towards the unknown. So we have 3.75 times 3. And you can get your calculator if you needed to. That's going to be 11.25. And if you just needed to check my math, remember going to plug it in, 3.75 times 3 gives me 11.25. And then I'm going to divide. So 11.25 divided by 1 gives me 11.25. And so my answer then is 11.25 feet for X. Okay, so now we have the actual dimensions. Okay, and we're trying to find out how much it's going to cost for us to do the flooring. So the flooring means we're going to cover all of this blue space, right? And so that means that we're using area. So the area of a rectangular shape is going to be length times width. And we know that our length, let me put my information here, 3 3/4. This is our width, information for the width, okay? So we know that our length came out to 6.75. We know that our width is 11.25. And we just go and calculate it. So 6.75 times 11.25, which gives me 75.9. Let me see. So our area is equal to 75 point. I'm just going to write the whole thing out. And what's our unit? Our unit is square feet. So this is the area of this flooring here. Now, we need to figure out how much are we going to pay for us to cover the flooring, okay, or get the new flooring. And they tell us that the material is $1.09 per square foot. So we have 75 square feet. So we're going to actually just use multiplication for us to find that. So what we're saying is 75.9375 times the cost per square foot, which is $1.09. I'm going to put over here cost, so we understand this is our cost. And if we open back up our calculator, so we have our number here. We're going to multiply that by $1.09. And we come out with $82. And remember, we only need 2 numbers after the decimal. So the second number is a 7. The third number is a 1. So remember 4 or less, let it rest. So it's going to be $82.77 would be the cost of the flooring.